Look at that G3 though.
It's just huge. Like it even has like nice mass and everything.
They got great brows even.
Yeah.
Freaking points. He busted off a big point too.
Yeah, I know. This point right here was out to here.
Yeah, that was a big long stick.
Yeah, it was.
No, I think that's a good setup. We got 2 different scrapes.
Yeah.
Pile of deer through. You can see all the tracks, and I think we'll come spend some serious time here the rest of the month. And, But I want to see some pictures and go through them and see what's all there. And
Okay, let's go get pictures and just get out of here. We're gonna try to get home before dark too.
It's actually so nice when you hear that sound break the silence in the morning. Seems like the bush just goes dead at night. Not a peep out here. And I think that sound just carries, especially we're sitting along a bunch of little valleys and coulees. Not really coulees, but just poplar ridges and hills. And I think that sound just travels so well in these wide open poplars. I'm hoping we can make it a full day today. So far we've tried to sit 2 days. Darcy killed a deer on hers by noon. And then yesterday we were sitting and Corey killed a deer, so we had to go give him a hand. So maybe today we'll make it a full day, but maybe with any luck we won't. Still looking for that Droptine deer. That's definitely the #1 target. But I think there's a few other bucks in here that would be interesting too. Rattled in a really cool looking buck yesterday. And I just have a feeling that there's a giant old mystery buck running around here somewhere spreading those genetics. Because I've never seen a pocket of deer with so many non-typicals. So every time I see a deer, I'm gonna get excited because you just never know what's gonna step out.
We were only 2 days into the entire whitetail season, and we already had 2 absolutely gorgeous bucks on the ground. And suddenly, I was faced with a situation that I had never been in before. With both Corey and Darcy tagged out, I literally had free reign of the bush to chase after whichever deer I wanted to focus on. My #1 target deer was a heavy old Droptine buck that I had found only a few weeks earlier in a new part of the bush. However, Corey had also been chasing a giant old typical buck for the past 3 years, and although he hadn't shown himself on the cameras yet this season, I wanted to spend at least a week in that area, hoping that he'd cruise past.
Doesn't win any style awards, but it's warm. We had a bit of a rodeo this morning. Seems like we're always moving stands and trying to stay on top of these deer. Corey actually killed his giant old buck in here a couple days ago, and we moved that stand afterwards another 100 yards to what we think is a better location in here to see these deer. And there's a giant old 6x6 running around in here. Big dark chocolate antlers, big boxy frame, just a row of tines, and that's the deer that we're in here after today. We had covert videos of him and pictures on the 1st, the 3rd, and the 5th. So like every second day he's cruising through, hitting one of these 3 scrapes through here. And I always say that for every picture we get of a deer, he's in the area 3 or 4 more times. It's just my own personal algorithm that I came up with. There's no really scientific data to back it up, but so that's what we're after. I'm feeling good about it. Real cold snap. Like yesterday was warm, above freezing. Now it was minus 10 or 12 with some wind and a dump of snow. And there was some deer tracks on the lines all the way in here, so we had to set up another stand for Corey. I'm gonna crawl into my suit, load the rifle, settle in, and crash some antlers together. We had some action yesterday with that, and it worked well. The bucks were starting to do their thing. So it's just deathly calm out here. Not a peep, so that sound will carry a long ways, and maybe if he's the big old dominant buck, he'll come cruising in and check it out.
Fatal Impact is proudly sponsored by Vortex Optics, Wood Wheaton Supercenter, Covert Scouting Cameras, Old Smokes Coffee, Black Widow Innovations, and the MD of Bonnieville. This segment of the show is brought to you by Deluxe Wall Tents, built in Canada for Canadian conditions.
I seen him before he started ripping it. It's so cold out here, but we actually had one little buck come by. And then out there we had 2 more does come. And then we heard out in the distance a bawl, a doe bleed, and then some crashing, and then she's been bleeding. And we caught out in the distance her running, bleeding with a buck on her tail. That's a buck grunt. Over there. Or another bleed for sure. There's just deer everywhere making all kinds of noise.
Corey and I spent an entire week sitting morning till dark in this particular spot without so much as seeing a glimpse of a half-decent buck. The weather had gotten cold and miserable, and I'll be honest, I had gotten tired of staring at the same 30 trees in front of me for 9 hours a day, waiting to catch movement. The wide 6x6 hadn't been past our cameras in almost 2 weeks, so I made the hard decision to head back to the land of the heavy Droptine buck, if for no other reason than for a change of scenery.
We've been here for a little while now. Sun is actually just peeking over. We came to a new spot today. Corey's actually never been here. It's a spot that Darcy and I have hunted for a day and a half. We're in here looking for a big old heavy Droptine buck. There's a couple other deer that I'd like to get a look at. Good buddy Daniel's coming back out again, and even Josie was planning on hunting this spot too. So there's a couple bucks there that are really good for them. But the one that I've kind of got my heart set on is the Droptine deer. So it looked like there was actually some decent movement on the trail on the way in. Like there was quite a few tracks. I'm not certain about our stand placement here because it's a new area and we've never really spent much time sitting here, but Darcy and I have seen bucks every time we were in here, so we got a long 9 hours and we'll ride it out and see. We'll do some rattling again. I think it's starting to fire up, so we'll try to do some rattling and some grunting and see if maybe we can stir something up. It's gonna be kind of a pain. I'm supposed to be looking out that way, but the sun is just peeking over and it's getting me right in the eyes, and so it's gonna be tough to see if anything comes back that way, but.
We had climbed into the stand early that morning and spent the first 2 hours rattling and grunting, hoping that the sound would carry through the wide open poplar ridges. Around 11 o'clock that morning, I caught movement out front as one of the bucks I was hoping to get a look at came in to check out what was going on. We watched him carefully as he cruised over the ridge, made a scrape, and carried on up and behind us. He was a beautiful buck, and one that I was hoping Daniel or Josie could connect on later in the season.
Yeah. It's one of the ones I want Daniel to shoot. Or Josie. What? He's probably mid-140s.
After he disappeared from sight, I heard a few crashes directly behind me and spun around to see another buck quickly making his way into view. As soon as I found him in my Vortex scope, I immediately noticed the Droptine and sticker and couldn't believe that it was him.
Fatal Impact is proudly sponsored by Mad Ramps, Deluxe Wall Tents, Victory Archery, Top Notch Taxidermy Studio, Fedro Premium Ammunition, High Mountain Seasoning, Eye Hunter, and Arkin RV. This segment of the show is brought to you by the MD of Bonnieville. Lake adventures happen here.
This buck had caught us looking the opposite direction and had seen us turn around to try and get on him. From where I was sitting, I could only see his back end and his antlers. His entire vitals were covered by the poplar tree, and with him staring a hole right through me, I didn't dare try to move over.
It's a Droptine deer.
I had always dreamt of seeing a giant old Droptine buck alive on the hoof one day in the bush, and here he was, looking right at me. We were locked in a stare down for over 5 full minutes before he turned his head and let me move into a position where I could get a shot.
Give it to him again.
No, just wait. I pounded him, right?
Yeah, I think so. Hit him again now. You're too closer.
He's right there.
Yeah, I know.
Did you see that deer? I've always dreamt of killing a big old Droptine bush deer. And we just killed him, Corey. We've been hunting another big old giant typical 6x6 at another spot. And this spot has been in the back of my head. Darcy and I have been here for 2 days, seen good deer each time. And I told Corey yesterday, I was sick of looking at the same trees for the last 4 or 5 days straight, that we had to just come here for a change of scenery and maybe we'll see them. And first thing this morning, we had a good buck cruise by way over there. And then I rattled in another real nice buck, one that I'm hoping that Daniel or Darcy can kill, or Josie. And then I heard something and I look back and here it comes. As soon as I hit him with my Vortex binos, boom, big flyer out the side, big Droptine hanging down and heavy. But he came in and where I was on my shooting rail, I could just see like his nose and his beam.
It was 4-minute video. I had to stop it.
Yeah, and then he looked away and I scooted over and I was like, holy crap, I can see everything. I was like, do you have him?
I was the other time. I was like, man, just move over a bit. I
couldn't see.
Smelling us? I didn't know.
No, like, and he was looking, and I thought if he took 2 more steps, he was dead, right? And I didn't think I'd be able to, and I didn't want to bust him, right? And
No.
look at that deer.
Sweet old character bush buck. He was dumped into a little corner there, so we had to drag him out and open him up, and awesome, probably a 3.5 inch little Droptine flyer, and then a sweet sticker out this side. Awesome little tree wreckers on his base, big bladed brow tines, probably a 10-11 inch G2, awesome G3. Like he's pretty much exactly what we thought he was. We came into this spot, it's a brand new area, never had a camera here before, and he was actually one of the first deer that showed up on the covert camera. And immediately I knew he was one that we wanted to come after. Gave it some time, he showed up again, and then we came in here. I actually slammed these stands up by myself, and Darcy and I hunted him a few days, and Corey and I snuck back in here this morning. But I just love the character on him. You can tell he's an old deer, big Roman nose, bladed G2s. Just, he's got awesome mass all the way through. He carries it right through his beams. I couldn't be happier.
This segment of the show is brought to you by Wood Wheaton Supercenter, a proud supporter of our outdoor heritage. This segment of the show is brought to you by Vortex, the force of optics.
Before the first 2 weeks of November could even pass us by, Darcy, Corey, and myself were all tagged out and sitting on the sidelines. Fortunately, my good friend Daniel Martichuk was once again coming over from BC to spend a week hunting with me, so I spent some time scouting new areas and making a game plan for when he arrived. With my sister-in-law Josie sitting in the stand looking for the buck that I had passed up a few days prior, Daniel and myself decided to spend the day sitting different cut lines and checking out new areas of the bush with a ton of sign. It isn't glamorous hunting. You see a ton of deer, but getting a shot is almost impossible. With light starting to fade on Daniel's first day in the bush, a good-looking buck stepped onto the line nearly 400 yards down, and he decided to take the shot.
Yeah, I'm on him.
Dude, did you hit him?
I think so.
I think you pounded him,
He
dude.
just went into those trees on the right there. I can't believe we just saw a first day buck. It was good. Holy crap.
What was that, like the 16th deer today?
That was the 16th deer we've seen today. He had a good frame on him. He came out of the trees. He had a good frame.
That's all. As soon as I seen him step out, I just yelled at him, hey, and he stopped and he looked. I hit him with my binos and he looked like a decent deer, but I don't know if he's a 2 or 3 or 4 or what he is.
He's
but
not a 2.
No, he had a good frame. He looked like he had some good friends. He looked heavy.
Yeah. I don't know. He just went in the trees. I think I hit him.
I don't have that many deer on camera in this area, so I don't know. That's a complete stranger buck. I don't recognize him at all, but I didn't have much time to look at him.
Dana, I was kind of looking forward to hunting with you for more than a day.
No.
Now what do we do?
That was a shot and a half.
That was quite a shot. That was damn near 400 yards. Wow, look at all this broken off junk, eh?
That's a heavy old deer. Look at that frame, man.
Smoked him.
Oh, you pounded him.
Oh, man. I'm excited, but I'm just kind of disappointed that it was right on the first day.
Yeah, you didn't waste any time.
No, I sure didn't. I really like these fronts here.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Looks like he could cut your finger right off.
These are crab claws.
Yeah. Oh, man. That was epic.
After another successful hunt together in Alberta, Daniel was making his way home when he had received the tragic news that his father had suddenly and unexpectedly passed away. Daniel and I had become friends over the shared passion of hunting, something instilled in both of us from a young age by our fathers. Daniel has always inspired me to become a better hunter and, most importantly, a better conservationist. And although I never had the chance to meet his father personally, it was easy to see the kind of man that he was. And suddenly, this particular hunt became about so much more than just another successful deer hunt together. Instead, it was one last hunt that Daniel got to share with his father through pictures and stories, although far too briefly.